My name is Keith Hull. Welcome to another NASE Minute. By now, most of you have heard of the Affordable Care Act, the ACA, and most of you understand that if you don't have an ACA-compliant health insurance policy, you're going to pay an extra tax on your tax return. Now, many of you have chosen to forego the ACA-compliant plan, find perhaps a cheaper policy based on your specific family's circumstances, and choose to go ahead and pay that penalty and still save a few dollars because the policy is much less expensive. So it's very important to know exactly what that penalty will be. Now, the penalty itself is calculated in two different formats, and you have to pay the higher of the two calculations. Now, the first calculation is basically a set dollar amount per person. So it's $695 per person, plus half that amount for each child under age 18. So relatively easy. The second calculation is 2.5% of your household income. Remember, you will pay the higher of these two calculations. Now, that first calculation, again, is relatively easy. It's $695 per person. So if you're a single taxpayer, that's your calculation. The first penalty is $695. If you're a married couple, there are two of you, that's $695 each, or $1,390. If you have two kids, that's another $347.50 per kid, which totals $2,085. Now, if you have more than two kids, they still limit it at two. So the maximum penalty for this part of the calculation would be $2,085. Now, the second piece is a little more difficult, as you might imagine. It's 2.5% of your household income. Now, household income is basically your adjusted gross income. That's the bottom number on page 1 of your tax return. You need to add back any tax-free income. So if you've got tax-free interest on municipal bonds, or maybe you've got some Social Security benefits that aren't taxable, you have to add those back. But you get to subtract the filing status threshold amount for your filing status. For example, if you're single, that is about $10,500. If you're married filing jointly, that's about $20,500. So you take your household income minus that filing status times 2.5%, and that's your penalty. Remember, you compare both calculations and pay the higher one. So let's look at a quick example. Let's say you're a single taxpayer and you have about $50,000 in household income. Your penalty would be calculated at about $1,000. If you make $100,000 as a single taxpayer, that penalty is going to be about $2,200. A married couple making $50,000, the penalty is going to be a little bit less because the threshold limit is higher. So that tax would be about $730. And again, that married couple, with each making $50,000 or $100,000 combined, the total penalty is about $2,000. Now, the most important thing, of course, is estimate what your income is going to be. Do the calculation so you are familiar with what that potential penalty will be. That'll put you in a better position to make a good financial decision as it relates to health insurance for you and your family. Always remember, you've got resources. Bookmark our website at nase.org, and we're here to help. Always remember, you're not alone.